Hello, would you please go in your packet and go to page 13? So right now I'm looking at page 13, and then we're going to go directly to the back on page 14. But first, this is our goal. I can calculate the unit rate given two quantities, including fractions, in a given word problem. So we've been working with whole numbers, and today we're going to work with fractions. I'm going to suggest strongly that you take out your scientific calculator, please. That's going to be helpful. I'll show you how to do it without the calculator, but the calculator is going to be very helpful. So now please go to page 14. Before we work on our problem 3 that contains a fraction, I want to go back and just remind you how we worked with it when we had whole numbers. So if we're given information and they ask for the unit rate, we're going to take whatever they give us on top, and we want to label because that's important, and divide it by what's given on bottom. So we would take 42 divided by 14, and that would give us 3. And then we go back and say, okay, this is 3 gallons. And again, unit rate is for 1 minute. Or we could say 3 gallons per minute. Okay, so this is how we set it up with the information that they gave us when we used whole numbers. So now let's focus on that same strategy, but this time we're going to work with fractions. So let's read what it says. Isaac used 3/4 of a package of pecans to make 2 turtle cheesecakes. How many packages of pecans are needed to make a cake? And a cake is referring to 1. So this is a unit rate problem. So we're going to start by looking at the information that they've given us. So we have 3/4 packages of pecans to make 2 turtle cheesecakes. So we're going to start with our 3/4 packages of pecans. So I'm going to abbreviate package, and I'm going to put pecans. Now here's where it's going to look very odd. Now I need my ratio bar because I'm comparing it to turtle cheesecakes, and if I'm just going to abbreviate cakes. So when we have a situation like this can be referred to as a complex fraction because it looks like a fraction within a fraction. But if you'll recall, in math, this fraction or ratio bar also means division. So we're going to set this up like this. We're going to take 3/4 divided by 2. Now, if you have your calculator, it's going to be very, very helpful if it's a scientific calculator. We're going to enter 3, ABC, 4, and the screen's going to look like this. 3, little backward L and 4. Then we're going to put in division, and we're going to divide by 2. So would you please put that in the calculator and then press enter. Pause this video and start again when you have the answer. And you should have on your calculator 3/8. So this equals 3/8. So what this means is it takes 3/8 of a package of pecans to make a cake. Now, if you did not have a calculator, here's what it would look like. Here's how you'd have to do this. We're going to put 3/4 divided by 2. And when I have a fraction divided by a whole number, I'm going to have to rewrite that whole number as a fraction also. So I'm going to put 3/4 divided by 2/1. 2/1 means the same thing as 2. 2 divided by 1 is 2. So now, you may have recalled in the past, you may have been taught when we divide and we're using fractions, we use keep, change, flip. We flip this to its reciprocal. So now that's going to look like 3/4, and we're going to change this to its opposite, which is multiplying, and we're going to flip this second fraction. It only happens as second fraction to its reciprocal. We flip it over. And when we multiply fractions, we go straight across. We're going to multiply 3 times 1 to get 3, and 4 times 2 to get 8. So both times we came up with the same answer. So this is what you're going to have to do if you don't have a calculator. So let's go one more time and talk about what this means. The question said, how many packages pecans? That's what we found, 3/8 of a package to make a cake. So we're going to write, it takes 3/8 of a package of pecans to make one cheesecake. All right, so now let's go to our page 16. Again, go to page 16 in your packet, and let's try a few practice problems. Okay, this is page 16. We already completed page 15 using whole numbers. So let's read what we're given. Mason used 2 teaspoons of honey to make 1/6 of a pan of pudding. How many teaspoons of honey are needed to make a full pan of pudding? So a full pan would be 1 pan. So we're going to highlight what they've given us. He uses 2 teaspoons of honey to make 1/6 of a pan of pudding. So I'm going to start out by writing that as a ratio. So we have 2 teaspoons of honey, and now my ratio bar, and 1/6 of a pan of pudding. So that's what we're given, 2 teaspoons and 1/6 of a pan. Now, the shortcut way would be to go right ahead and use your calculator, recalling that this ratio bar means division. So you would put 2 divided by 1/6. So it would look like this in the calculator. 2 divided by 1 ABC 2. So pause and do that and tell what the answer is. And if you're using your calculator, you had 12. So let's put meaning to that. So what we've found is that it takes 12 teaspoons of honey to make a full pan, which is 1 pan, of pudding. So we answered the question. So if you do not have a calculator, here's what you're going to need to do. You're going to, keying from this means 2 divided by 1/6. And again, I have a whole number divided by a fraction, so I need to convert the 2 to a fraction also. We're going to make 2 over 1. That's equivalent to 2 divided by 1/6. And now we are going to use keep, change, flip. We're going to keep the first fraction, change the division to multiplying, and we're going to flip this fraction using the reciprocal. So it's going to look like this. 2, this becomes times, and then we're going to flip this fraction to its reciprocal. And now we have we're ready to multiply. We're going to go straight across, and that's going to give us 12. And straight across, that's going to give us 1. 1 times 1 is 1. And 12 over 1 would be 12, which is exactly what we had when we used our calculator. So now I would like you to try practice 5 and practice 6 independently. please take a picture of your work and turn it in. Have a great rest of your day.